In this video lesson, I am going to show you how to make this mouse. The clay which we are using here is a water-based air drying clay which comes in a bag like this. Other things we are going to need: a bowl of water and a sponge to clean our hands, and we need a pencil as a tool. We are going to need a cotton cloth to clean our hands again. Let's get started. Firstly, we are going to make a body of a mouse. To make a body, take a clay out of a bag. After taking clay, make sure you cover the bag properly and preparing for a body. Take clay only so much, how much ever you can handle it, about this much. And now, before modification, we need to clean our hands. Take a sponge and squeeze the sponge. Don't dip your hands in the bowl and then try to wash it. Take a wet sponge, wipe out the clay on your hands. And make it wet. There is a lot of water on your hands. You can take a cotton cloth to wipe out the excess water. Make sure your hands are neat and moistured. Take a piece of a clay which we made earlier. Make a perfect ball by rolling in between your hands. And if there is any depth, dents or cuts, you can merge it with your fingers like this, and by rolling it again we make a ball. And now we need to modify this ball into a little bit lengthier teardrop shape and bend it. By doing that, we get a body of a mouse. Now I will show you how to modify this ball into a body of a mouse. Before that, we have to wash our hands. Do only this way. Take a wet sponge and wet your hands. We must clean our hands every step. Now with our wet hands, take a ball of a clay, hold in between your hands, holding in a V shape, and start rolling it. Roll it for 2-3 times and then change the position and roll it. Otherwise it will become flat. If you keep rolling it this way for a long time, you will roll only this area and this area. Later it will become flat. To avoid that, we roll it for 2-3 times and change the position and roll it again. Make sure you hold it in a V shape. And after some time, if you hold it this way, you will see a teardrop shape getting formed out of a ball. And we need to make little more sharpie point here. To do that, again you roll it and you notice that a clay sticks here and here. If we leave it there, it dries, which is not good. Now that's the teardrop shape we wanted. We got it. We need to bend that shape to make a body of a mouse this way. So before do that, just hit twice on the floor so that we get a flat surface at the bottom of this shape, so the mouse will sit there. So after hitting twice, you bend it by holding this way, little by little. Do it little, bend it all the way this side, just pressing and bending. You get to modify this shape. And now do not let a clay dry on your hands. It will spoil our model. Wash your hands with a wet sponge. Don't dip your hands in the bowl and try to wash. Take a wet sponge, wipe out all the clay which was stuck on your hands. And now with your wet hands you can do a finishing touch. So now the body of a mouse is ready. Let's add all these features to make a complete mouse. Let's make eyebrow, eyes, ears. Let's start with the eyebrows first. To make eyebrows, take a small piece of a clay, place it over there and visualize after making eyebrow how big it will look, whether it is too big or too small. You must be able to measure according to the body shape which you made. About this much. Fine, this is perfect for me. I will roll in between my hands. You do the same to make a cylindrical shape and make sure it has a stickiness. If your model is too dry, it will not stick. To make it sticky, take a little water on your fingers and roll it until the water goes in the clay and it forms a glue. Keep it over there and merge it with your index finger. Take a little bit of water on your fingers and do a finishing touch. Whenever you take water, make sure you take water from the sponge. Don't dip your hands in the water. And now we add eyeballs. Let's make two tiny eyeballs there. Before attaching, place it and visualize whether it matches or not. If it is too big, make it small. They look very big for me. I will split this into two. And we'll place there and notice these are going to match. Okay, let's attach. Before attaching, I make sure there is a stickiness in it. Since I rolled it for a long time, There's no water content, there's no glue on this. Take a little bit of water in your fingers and roll it. The water acts as a glue here. Don't just attach it with the water on it. Roll it until the water forms a glue on the clay. Let's attach it. Take a little bit of water on your fingers and attach it this way. And now let's make ears. Take 2 pieces of clay. Make sure both are equal in size. And place it over there before attaching. Observe how big they are going to go. This size is fine for me. Before attaching, make sure you roll it with the water. Very little amount of water. Take a little water in your fingers and roll it. If you take a lot of water, you cannot roll. So make sure very little water you have taken and roll it. Notice that the stickiness is coming. Place them on both the side of the body and holding gently by pressing it slowly, you can make ears. One ear this side, one ear this side. Take a little bit of water and do a finishing touch. And next we are going to make a nose. Take a small piece of clay, roll it and attach it. The next stage is we making a mouth. Let's make a mouth for him. Take a pencil, roll it on a sponge, make it wet and do a mark from here to the middle and hold it opposite. Do a mark from here to middle. Then take a little bit of water and do a finishing touch. Make sure your hands are clean and moistured. Let's make a tooth for him. Take a very little clay and roll it. Make it little flat. Place it there and press it. So now let's make a legs. To make a legs, we make a mark here and here, both the side. Take a pencil, make it wet, hold it in this way, slant, and mark like this. Do exactly the same thing opposite side. Holding here, take a pencil, make it wet and make a mark here. And after this we make foot. To make foot, here and here at the bottom, take 2 small pieces of clay which are equal in size. Take a mouse out, make these 2 a small cone shape, place it here. Do one more the same way, make a small cone, place it over there and stick it at the bottom. Make sure they are closer to a body. Maybe we can bend it a little like this. And next we are going to make a tail for him. Making a tail is very simple. Take a clay about this big. A mouse has a very lengthy tail, so don't worry. About this big. Don't take a very little clay or a bigger, about this much. You must be able to visualize after making a tail how big it is going to go, and we are going to attach here. So place your model and take a clay, keep it there and visualize how big it is going to go. We need to clean our hands. And make a coil. Take this clay, make a perfect ball and roll it in between your hands to make a tail. Make a linear pointy teardrop shape. We'll start with this teardrop shape and we keep rolling it, leaving one side big and one side pointy. You can even roll it on a table. Make sure you finish the rolling when a wetness is still there on our hand. If your hands are completely dry, you clean your hands with the sponge. And roll it for some time. In this area, we are going to attach a tail onto a body like this. Before attaching, we give a depth here this way by rolling it and pressing it with your right thumb. Before attaching, modify the tail something like this and place it on a body this way and merge all the way here. Take a little bit of water and do a finishing touch. And now it looks like the tail has grown from this body. Take a little water and wet the tail slowly. You start bending it Make sure there are no cracks in here. Bend it on a body and curve it like this and attach. So now the next stage is hands. Let's make hands now. Make sure your hands are clean and moistured. To make hands, we take a clay, equal amount of clay pieces, and place it there and notice how big they are. If they are too big, make it small. Take out some clay and see, yes, that's enough. Let's modify these two balls into hands. Before that, keep your hands wet. Now holding on your left hand, just by rolling it with your right index finger, you modify this. Notice that leave this part for a palm and roll in between your fingers. This is the shape we want. Do the same thing to other one. If it is dry in here, by rolling on a dry hand, we make this clay more harder. Later what happens, when we attach that hardened clay, it will fall down. To avoid that, we have to clean our hands with a wet sponge. Yes, two hands are almost getting ready. Make sure both are equal in length. And now we make a palm. By pressing it here, we make a palm of a mouse. Do the same thing to other one. And both the hands are going to go in here. Before attaching, make sure it has a stickiness in it. Take a very little water and roll it. Don't attach it when the water is still in a watery condition on the clay. Roll it so that the water and the layer of a clay becomes a glue. And bend them little bit like this. Place it over there, attach it. Take a very little water on your fingers and attach it this way. So the hands are done. Final touch up. Take a pencil. Let's split this teeth into tooth. Make 4 marks for our fingers. And 4 lines for our legs. That's it. Our cute little mouse is ready.